celebrity makeup artist. I'm an actress, a model, and a TV personality. That's what I do. That's who I am. Well, I've worked with various celebrities. Typically, I work with a lot of reality stars. I've worked with people from Yandy, Tahiri, Kimbella, BBOD, Cardi B, Nia Lee. I also work with Zayna Ray. She's Designer's manager. Those are some of the people that I've worked with. How old am I? I'm 26 years old. Oh my God, I almost forgot. And I'm from Miami, Florida, originally born and raised. What has been my experience with domestic violence? I've only had one traumatic experience. It only took me once to be in a dramatic domestic violence relationship for me to realize that I will not allow anyone to put their hands on me, period. I was dating my ex-boyfriend, which I won't even say his name, about 3 years ago, and we were in a pretty good relationship except for the fact that he was a little possessive. But at the time, I felt as though it was okay, that he really loved me, and that's why he was so possessive. And it was not a problem until it became an issue for me to go to work and go, hang out with my friends. I could never hang out with my friends. He wouldn't want me, speaking to my parents, my mom. It would be just like very, very extremely controlling, and it wasn't an issue to me until I remember one night coming home from work. I was at work a little longer than expected. Normally I would get home around 6:30 every evening, and that particular day I came home like around 9. I'd gone out to lunch with my friends, and we stayed over and we were talking for quite, longer than expected, and I came home and he was waiting for me. As soon as I walked in, I remember him saying, "You fat bitch. What the fuck was you doing? You out here fucking niggas and shit like that." Like, he was just going in those types of words, and all I could remember saying was like, "God, like, please, like, this cannot be my life. Why must I always argue with this man? Why must I always go through this stuff? I just want to go to work and come to a peaceful home." And as I'm in my thought, I remember him slapping me so hard. It was like a ringing sound, a sound that I could never forget, right across my face, like right across my face. I remember him kicking me as I was on the floor, and I'm screaming to myself like, why? It was more of a shock than anything. This person that I've given and dedicated 2 years of my life to, like, he was my best friend, my everything. Like, I did not see anybody or put anybody before him. How can this man hurt me? I stopped talking to my mother. I left my family aside for this guy. My friends, what friends? He was my everything. And he hurt me so bad that it still haunts me to this day. After he slapped me to the floor and he continued to kick me, he got up and he left outside the door. I got up because I was trying to leave. He took the car keys and told me that I wasn't going anywhere. So now I'm in the streets and I'm running and I'm trying to call for help. And the neighbors ended up calling the police. And that's how I was able to get away from him. Had it not been for the neighbors or for the police taking him away, I don't know what would have happened to me. I could have been dead.
Most people know me as Chinese Kitty. You can just call me Kitty. I'm a model, an artist, an aspiring actress, a businesswoman. A lot of things in a nutshell. When I was 17, I went upstate to college, and I had met this dude on the side. He was way older than me. He was like 27 years old. I was trying to, I don't know, I guess I was like lost. I was very lost at that point in time, and I just wanted to be grown. I wanted to be older. I didn't like myself. I felt like being with him, he made me feel sexier and older, and because he was older and whatever. So eventually he made me drop out of school. He was just like, oh, that's whack, you don't need that, it's not gonna do anything for you. So when I was like 17, I dropped out of school and I started living with him. My parents did not speak to me, so at this time all I had was him. I couldn't be like, oh, I didn't have any money, let me go ask my mom. I'm only a child at that time. So then he's like, oh, you should go strip, you should do this, you should get money the way you should, whatever. So I started dancing, and then we started doing a lot of drugs, like weed, Molly, all types of stuff, all crazy. And I was like getting addicted to it, and he was, and like it just started getting into a really crazy relationship. After a while of like 3 months we were together doing like all types of drugs and crazy stuff, it'd be like he'll come home one day and be like, oh, like you're disgusting, like you have nothing going on for yourself, all you do, you're a dirty stripper, like like after you done just got me out of school and got me here and I'm living with you and I have no parents, and like I had parents, but it's like they didn't want to speak to me, they didn't accept what I was doing or whatever. It was like, I don't know, all I had was him or whatever, and he just would make me feel so less of a person. Like, oh, you're ugly, without all that MAC makeup nobody would ever look at you, like you're disgusting, like look at you, like you can't even do anything else but shake your ass like on a pole. Like it was crazy, and I think I just got so used to that or whatever, so it was like that's all I knew or whatever. So then it turned into that, to him talking to me crazy, from violence, from that, and it was just like, I got so used to that, it was like, okay, cool, I would just brush it off or whatever, to turning him to start cheating on me, and then cheating to hitting on me. So it was like one day I would come home and like he'd have a girl on the couch, and like I'd be like, what is going on, da 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 da, and like he'll be like, you know what, he'll tell her like, oh, I got this, tell her go home, whatever. Then when behind closed doors, he'll slap me for embarrassing him in front of his friends, in front of his friend, whoever the girl was. Or like, I remember one day I came home, he had his ex in the house. Mind you, we were paying half the rent, so I just felt so disrespected. And he felt like I embarrassed him in front of her, and he dead punched me in my mouth. Boom, right in front of her. I'm like bleeding on the floor, crying. He's like, that's what I told you, you dirty bitch, da-da-da, talking to me crazy, like, and I just I didn't have anyone to fall back on. I wasn't speaking to my parents. I couldn't talk to anyone about it. I used to go to work, like, people be like, what happened to you, I had to provide for myself. I was so young. So, yeah, it was just a lot that I had to go through with him, and it was like 2 years, and I was so young, 17, 18. Yeah, it's crazy. I think after 2 years, I was like, I was like doing so much. I was getting high, like not off, them type of drugs, but I just wanted to smoke. I could not function without being on a Molly or like, smoking weed, or like being like getting drunk. Like it was like, I just didn't understand why my life was this way. And I just, reached out to my mom one day, and I was like, I just need help. I need help. Like I couldn't do anything. Like I felt embarrassed to even ask her, because I told her at one point, I got this, and after just being beat up, and I couldn't run to anybody, I couldn't talk to anybody, I couldn't do anything about it. I was dancing, I was like, I just felt so, lost. I just was like, I ran away from him, and I ran to my mom. She was living in Florida, and I just went to see her, and I just was like, you know what? I stayed there for a couple weeks, and I got myself together, and she told me, you were like so much better than this. And I think because I didn't have anyone to tell me that for a long time, it just made me stay with him, And once she, her taking me back in, and me realizing that, family is there, and I just felt like, I'm so much better than this. And eventually got up, from my mom's house, moved back to New York on my own. It was like, okay, I got this. I'm good now. So, yeah. I definitely think if you don't have anyone to talk to, like, you have to reach out. You have to tell someone what you're going through, because I know how it is. I know how other people look at it, like, well, why you just didn't, call such and such, or why you didn't call your mom, or like, why you didn't. When you're in that moment, it's like you love that person so much. It's like so much. So you feel like, maybe I could just work it out. Maybe I could just, no, if you feel that gut feeling like you just want to get away, just get away. If you have someone you can just reach out to and you're embarrassed to tell them what's going on, just, have someone that can help you. Like, if you feel like you need to get it out, you need someone to help you or tell you good advice, you have to do it. Like, you cannot keep it in. You'll just let it eat you alive, and you'll just be in this situation, and it's going to be a reoccurring, it's going to be ongoing, and until it's too late. So, yeah. Love is blind, love is blind. Don't you know love is blind? It will take over your mind. What you think is love may truly not be. It'll take over your mind. You need to elevate and find. Love is blind, love is blind.
My name is Chrissy Monroe. I am an actress, a model, a writer, and the founder of Survive to Thrive Global. It's a nonprofit domestic violence foundation. My experience with domestic violence was firsthand. I got involved with a younger guy when I was over the age of 40. He was 13 years younger than me. He was very charming when I met him, handsome, said all the right things I wanted to hear. I was at the height of my career from a popular television show. And, it was a lonely place for me at that time in my life because I had a lot of fake people around me. I had just broken up in front of the whole world with a married man, which was humiliating enough. And, he was just there at the right time, I guess, and said all the right things. So things escalated very quickly. He moved in with me. Just looking back on it, I know I should have slowed things down, but hindsight is 2020. This guy was just very strong. He wouldn't let me leave him alone. I know he had stayed out one night before he had moved in, and I was like, you know what, I'm not with this. And he was like, no, I'm not letting you go. I'm not letting you leave me alone and all that. And I really took that as him just really liking me. I didn't see the sign of him being an abuser. I just thought, wow, he's really into me. He's not going to let me leave. So when he moved in, things were great for the first few months. But then it started becoming, what I know now, I didn't know at the time, emotional abuse, which was, and a lot of people don't know, the ignoring me, the denying sex. I would come in the house and he would just be on the couch and he would, have his head down, and I'd be like, what's wrong? And he'd be like, just leave me alone. So I would start questioning myself. What did I do to make you mad? Blaming myself, like, wow, and thinking about everything I may have said during the day. Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? In reality, I did nothing. But that was the beginning of the manipulation, the emotional abuse, and the mind games. The withholding sex, making me feel unattractive, because we were having sex every day at the beginning of the relationship, and then he would just get cold and turn his back on me at night and not want to touch me. Then again, I'm questioning myself. Am I ugly? Is he cheating? All kinds of things go through your head. So that was the first phase. Then it got into the verbal abuse, being called bitches, whores, sluts, old, ugly, washed up. He would go out with me to red carpet functions, and as soon as we would leave, he would say nasty things like, oh, you know nobody was looking at you because you're ugly. Nobody's paying attention to you. You ain't shit. You're never gonna be shit. Just horrible things. I remember the first incident occurred. Now, he was already in my house, and I have to be honest, he was paroled to my house. This guy was out of jail. It was for a gun charge and some other charge. It was not domestic violence related, so I didn't think he was a woman beater. I'm thinking, okay, he's just thugged out, whatever. But we were in my car on our way to his cousin's house in the South Bronx on the highway, and he just out of nowhere, it was like a demon came over his body and just started cursing me out. I mean, he just went in. Like, I just stayed quiet. We got to the cousin's house. I sat on the couch. He went in the bathroom. I just broke down and started crying. And his cousin said, you must have got a taste of his mouth, honey. She said, trust me, there's more to come. And then he walked back in. So that should have been my first warning, but I didn't listen. The sex was good and he wasn't always so bad. So I overlooked that. And it just got worse and worse until it got physical. I remember my worst beating by far was when I took my car and hid it around the block because he used to help himself to my vehicle. This guy wanted my life. He was jealous of me. He was a pretty boy, OCD. You know, he would iron his white t-shirts before he left the house. Everything had to be perfect, but he had nothing on the inside. So he really envied my spirit, my personality, the way people really loved me. And it was like he just tried to beat that out of me. One night I hid my car because I got tired of him taking my car. The guy didn't even have a license. He had a suspended learner's permit. I got tired of being stranded in my own home with a car that I paid for, and he was just helping himself to it. I got tired of being bullied, so I hid the car around the block. He went to leave to take it to Brooklyn late on a Friday night. He was going to try to disappear again, and I said, no, I hid the car. So he went outside. He saw the car wasn't there, and I was laying on the couch. No, I was laying on the couch. I heard him come back in. I went to go lock the top lock because he didn't have a key to the top lock, but it was too late. He already got in. And he just grabbed me and pulled me back into the house, into the living room, and had me on the floor and just continued to beat on me for about 5 minutes straight, punching me. He had his sneakers on, kicking me with his sneakers, punching me. And I literally had my hands, I was curled in a ball on the living room floor. And after this happened, both of my hands were black and blue from trying to hide cover my face. My face was demolished. I had bruises all over my body. He actually at one point stopped, left the room, came back and just started doing it again. It was like there was a demon in my house that I couldn't get rid of. And luckily I survived that. Cracked ribs and, my jaw is dislocated and hearing damage. But the inside scars are far more worse than the outside. The outside heals, but the inside, to me, it just never will.
My name is Lynn Hobson, and I am a celebrity publicist, author of Diary of a Hip Hop Publicist, and I'm also a college professor. My experience with domestic violence happened back in 2012. I broke up with my boyfriend, who was also a well-known music producer in the entertainment industry. Basically what happened, it was a one-time incident, and I caught him cheating. I broke up with him, and about 30 days later, he was hitting up my phone trying to rekindle the relationship. One particular day, I was out with a client and his wife, and they had taken me out with them on a double date with this really cute guy. His name is Remo. He is a personal trainer. Hey, Remo. And we went on a double date to a bowling alley.
and during the time Twitter was really brand new and popping, and my date tweeted that we were all at this bowling alley. So it was all about timing during this particular attack. What happened was he showed up at the bowling alley right when my friend Crystal was going to the restroom, and the guys had dipped off to the bar to grab a drink. So when he came up to me, I immediately wanted to deflect any potential drama, so I agreed to go and have a conversation with him outside of the bowling alley at the bowling alley's entrance. So when he asked me to leave everyone and come with him and stop what I was doing so that we could go off somewhere in privacy to have an in-depth conversation, I told him that I was not interested in rekindling the relationship and that I was happy in the space that I was in. And next thing I know, I got stomped out. Something within him just snapped. And do you see what happened? He just beat the shit out of me. He stomped me to the ground like I was a piece of shit, like I was nothing. Here I am, a publicist, a life coach, a professor. I am known for uplifting young women, but here I am getting my ass beat in public. It was the most embarrassing shit that I've ever had to go through in my entire life. At the end of the day, he was a fuck boy who thought he was soft, who thought he was a good guy, but that was not the case. But you know what? I am an example, and I'm leading by example, and I'm here to tell you that you can get out of it. I went through the court system. I got laughed at. I got talked about. I got joked at. And thank God social media at the time was not as prominent as it was now, or I would have been totally played. But I made it through. I went through the system. I got my final restraining order, and I'm here today with these scars. And yes, these scars are here. You can physically see them on my face, but I'm still wearing them on the inside. And every day it is a healing process. And I pray to God every day that I will get over this. And I pray every day that I can heal from this so that I can one day be in a healthy relationship.
My name is Ashley Lopez, and I am currently unemployed, but I'm a recent graduate from St. John's, and I have a really big passion for freelance. So I do a few freelance things. I'm working with an up-and-coming app. It's called Tomo Mobile Application, and I'm their social media coordinator. I also am my own passion. I'm a freelance makeup artist. I don't really do much with it, but I'm looking for a career to start. My personal experience with domestic violence, I've never personally been in a traumatic experience, but I've had my mother be in a traumatic experience. So for me, it's almost like I was in it. I got to witness my mother be in a relationship that was really unhealthy for her, but she felt like she needed to be in it. There were days where she wouldn't even really want to come out of her room. And as a child, as a daughter, seeing her feel that type of way, it really made an impact on my life. And it definitely did make me feel as if men should never treat women that way, and women should always be able to empower themselves and lift themselves up. When things got really physical, there was an incident that occurred that she was actually at a family party, and he never really liked to be around the family much because he just called himself a not people person. That was his excuse for it. And we came back from the family party one day, and I guess we had stayed a little too long for his liking. So when we came back, I had went straight into my room because I already felt his vibe of anger and just very intense tension in the room. So I wasn't really comfortable with it, so I went right into my room, and about 5 minutes later, I just heard huge commotion, and that night he ended up beating my mom bad to the point where she had this black eye and she had a broken collarbone, and it's just something that I'll never forget seeing my mom go through, and she'll never forget it. It's something that can heal physically, but it can't heal emotionally. These are things that people are going to go through and should never be left by themselves to go through it. I feel like everybody should have somebody to go through and somebody to be with and somebody to just rely on and be able to feel like confident in and be able to feel like they can go to them and be safe. And my mom didn't have that. My mom was a mother of 3 with 3 different baby daddies. This was her last baby daddy, and she felt like this was the one. She felt like she couldn't leave him because if she left him, what else would she have? And that led to this. And once this happened, she knew that she had to leave, not only for her safety, but for the safety of the kids as well.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. For you.